Hi, do you have a leader? Are you following a leader right now as we speak? Is there somebody that has taken responsibility for you as a leader? Or perhaps you are leading somebody, or maybe a team. All right. If you look at it as a leader, what do you have to offer your team members? Not just what do you bring to the table, what is your promise of value to them? What is it that will make that relationship that you have with them a profitable one for them, and secondarily for you? And if you are a follower, ask yourself, why do you follow that leader? Why are you reporting to that boss? Is it all just because you find yourself reporting to the boss, or you find yourself under the leader? Why are you in that relationship? What's the profit that's in it for you? Is there anything in it for you, actually? Have you ever thought about that? What are you hoping to get from following that leader? All right. It's amazing, actually. Two things I would say. I mean, people are fond of complaining about their leaders. All right. It's one of the easiest things to do, to complain about a leader. And that's why I don't envy leaders because, there's always a tendency for followers to complain. They complained about Jesus. I mean, almost saying, who does he think he is? Why would somebody say the kinds of things, that he said? All because he told them exactly who he was. And by the way, he told them what he had on offer for them. But they couldn't handle that truth. Just as many followers can handle the truth of leadership, the truth about their leader. All right. And so the fact that people complain about leaders means that they have some expectations from their leaders that are not being fulfilled. All right. We can take that to mean that they're expecting some profit. And if it's not coming, then they are up in arms. Okay. Now, so that's the way it is. But what kind of profit are they expecting? That's a different ballgame. All right. But I guess that each one who is following a leader ought to have some expectation. Okay. But again, you're expecting a profit from the leader. That's right. No one should get into any relationship that offers no value. You shouldn't get into any relationship that does not offer value. And no leader should assume that responsibility without attending to that very important issue. What value are you offering to those who are following? You are making demands that people should follow you. You expect that people should commit to you. In exchange of what? Because like it or not, leadership, that relationship that is called leadership, involves an exchange, the exchange of value. The leader must bring something to the table. The leader must put profit on the table for the follower. If you expect true commitment, true following, you must answer the question, what's in it for them? What's in it for those who are following? You'll be surprised how many leaders never attend to this, never hold out themselves to be held accountable for what they are expected to deliver. Those leaders, I call them free rider leaders. They just want to take advantage of their people. And in the end, they benefit. As they say, they smile to the bank. But their leaders, I mean, their followers end up holding, an empty can. They have nothing to show for their years of, following, of toil, perhaps, maybe even of commitment. So the leader must commit to that. But I want to pay attention this morning to what a follower needs to do to profit from the leader. All right. What do you need to do? First of all, you need to demand, what's in it for me? If you are not doing that, you are not smart as a follower. If you are not doing that, you are, permit me to say, it's kind of stupid, actually. You are not supposed to get involved in anything that doesn't offer value. And if you operate in the kingdom, in the kingdom of God, you are not expected to get involved in anything that offers no profit. That's the way the kingdom runs. All right. The kingdom is full of people with a merchant mindset. As the parable of the pearl, or the great pearl, talks about the kingdom of heaven being, like a merchant who goes out looking for pearls. And when he has found one great one, he goes and sells everything that he has to purchase it. A merchant mindset is expected of you and I, as kingdom operators. That's the way to excel in life. You must have a merchant mindset, which simply means that whatever it is you commit to, it must offer profit. It must, otherwise it constitutes a waste. Whatever you invest in it, whether it's your time, whether it's your money, whatever, whether it's your emotions, it will constitute a waste if you are not getting profit in return. I'm not saying if you are not getting anything in return. All right, you must get more than you put into it. That's what profit means. That's what profit means. So you need to demand for it. You need to have an expectation of profit from following a leader, from the leader relationship. You must have. Those who followed Jesus had an expectation. They did. And he, on the other hand, was a very responsible leader who did not ask anyone to follow without telling them what was in it for them. But let's take the side of the follower. There was a time that came in Luke 18, it was, when Jesus made a statement and said something like, it's going to be hard for a rich man or for a wealthy person to enter the kingdom of God. And the disciples listened to him. Those were the people following him. They had that statement, and they were a bit uncomfortable. They wanted to be very sure about what they had gotten themselves into, following him. And so usually, the very forward one, in quotes, among them, Peter, then said something in Luke 18:28. He said, "Sir, but we've left all to follow you." I love that. So we have left all to follow you. These were people who were following Jesus who told him to his face, we left everything to follow you. What do you think that means? They had an expectation. They wanted, something in return for their commitment. They had the right kind of mindset that this relationship is not a game. This relationship has to profit us. We must have a credible reason why we are committed to you as our leader. Said we left all to follow you. They were saying, what are we going to get? And that's what you also need to express. Anytime you are following any leader, it doesn't matter whether it's in the church or it's in the secular, once you are following a leader, they have a responsibility to address the issue, what's in it for you, and to do so clearly and to do so as repeatedly as is necessary, so as to encourage you to stay the course. Because as you would find, following a leader is not piece of cake. It's far from it. It's not piece of cake by any means. All right? So that's what they said. That's what they told him. Now, he was a very responsible leader, like I said, and he immediately responded to them. He didn't scold them like some of us could do today. He didn't say, what do you mean? He didn't say, haven't you been benefiting since you have been following me? No, that's not what they were talking about. That's not what they were expecting to hear. He gave them what they were expecting to hear. He said, let me make it clear to you. Anyone who has made the requisite sacrifice to follow me, he said, number one, he will get 100-fold return on every sacrifice that he has made. And number two, he would enjoy a much higher quality of life. He called it eternal life. So that's the package. He didn't mince word. He was very clear about what was in it for them. He addressed what was in it for them frontally. By the way, that was not the first time. When he called each of them originally, what did he say to them? He made them an offer. In that offer, we made clear what he expected from them and what they were to do. That offer conveyed the responsibilities of both parties, all right, that will characterize the leadership relationship. He said to them, follow me and I will make you. You see why it's an exchange? You see why leadership involves an exchange? Said, follow me. That's what you are expected from the follower as leader. He said, and I will make you fishers of men. All right. So you ask for something from them and you promise to deliver value to them. As far Jesus has said it at that time, I will make you something that you are currently not, something that is more valuable than what you are right now. You are fishermen now. I will make you fishers of men. I will add such value to your life that you become more valuable to both yourself and to any community or any organization where you may find yourself. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that wonderful? That's wonderful. So he did not mince words. You wonder why the people were quick to leave everything and to follow him. Look at the offer. An excellent offer. They obviously understood what it meant. And Peter especially, because if you look at Luke 5 and verse 81, I mean, read Luke 5 from verses 1 to 11, you know, the encounter that Peter and his brother had with Jesus, all right, at the end of which Jesus said, don't bother, all right, I'm going to teach you how to fish for men. No longer will you be fishermen. They had an encounter and they had an idea what it meant to be made fishers of men. They saw something practically that pointed to them that following this leader is going to be very profitable. Not just profitable, it's going to be very, very profitable. All right? So that relationship must be characterized by profit. And it is right for a follower to expect, to express their expectation, and if need be, to demand for profit from the leadership relationship. And a good leader won't shy away from making the commitment. A good leader instead will make clear what profit to expect from that relationship. All right. Now, let's address something. It's not enough to express your expectation of profit as a follower. There's something that you need to do as a precondition. If you don't do it, your expectation will be dashed. If you don't do it, you will gain no profit from following that leader. If you don't do what I'm about to unveil, you actually have no right to expect profit from the relationship. Still, if you don't do this very important, if you don't play this very important part or live up to this crucial responsibility, you are certain to hold an empty can following any leader, no matter how long you stay under that leader. All right? Because notice, like I said, the relationship involves an exchange. The relationship involves responsibility. The leader has a responsibility to the follower. The follower also has simultaneously a responsibility to the leader. Make no mistake, yes, there is only one captain in this ship. But guess what? I will show you something very quickly. The one with the greater stake in the relationship is the follower. You say, what? Oh, yes, you, the follower. You have a greater stake in the relationship between you and the leader. Let me show you something, and I'm still going to use an illustration from the way Jesus conducted his leadership. All right, which is leadership at the height of excellence. All right. And in Luke 14, he said something. He said, look, if you want to be my disciple, that is, if you want to be my follower indeed, he said, you have to hate your father, mother, brother, sister, even yourself. And you take your cross and follow me. Now, that's a tough one. Said, you want to be my follower. You want to be eligible for the profit that my leadership has to offer. Then you have to live up to your role. You have to live up to your own responsibility. You have something to bring to the table as well. And what I expect from you is full, total commitment to me. That's what it means. It didn't mean that you should hate anybody in the sense of hate as we know it, literally. He was saying you have to prioritize my relationship with you. You can't handle or take my relationship with you with levity. No, it's not going to work. That's what he was saying. When you are following a leader, you have a role, you have a responsibility. If you must be let into the profit that the leader offers, you have to play that role and play it well. What is it? You live up to the responsibility expected of a true follower. And what is that? You are fully committed to the leader. You prioritize the leader in the scheme of things. The word of the leader to you must be like, the word spoken by an oracle, if you like. That's what Jesus was saying. And then he went ahead and illustrated it with a parable to show how seriously, he meant what he was saying, to show how important the cornerstone nature of this responsibility as the what to do to profit from a leader. He said, which of you wants to build a tower and doesn't first sit down to count the cost to determine if he will be able to complete it? Otherwise, let it not be that he begins to build and then gets stuck in the middle, discovering that he doesn't have enough to complete the project, and then exposes himself to ridicule. Notice, he spoke that parable to illustrate a leadership phenomenon, not a finance phenomenon. I am not saying we can't borrow that wisdom for handling financial issues, but this was primarily a leadership issue. Was primarily a leadership issue. What he was saying, he compares leadership to a project. Who is the owner of the project? Who wants to build a tower? Is not the leader, is a follower. The follower is the one who wants to build the tower. He only secures the help of the leader, or who is a builder now, to help him build. But he has to make the commitment, funding commitment, and every other thing that will help the leader to get his job done or her job done. The owner of the project, of the leadership project, is the follower, not the leader. The leader is only a builder, not the owner. The one who goes away with the profit from the leadership relationship is the owner of the project. But if the owner of the project fails to cooperate fully and to demonstrate full commitment to the project from beginning to the end, he leaves the builder helpless. The builder can only build when the full commitment of the owner of the project is in place. So many times you ought to know that you have the greater stake as a follower, that you have a role to play to ensure that you profit from that relationship, from your following any leader. And what's your role? Take ownership of the project. Sit down, be clear about what it's going to take. And if you are comfortable, if you know that you can give it what it takes, commit to the leader. It is committing to your process. To your project. You see, when you fully commit to a leader, you are not giving up yourself away. You are protecting your interest, because this leadership thing is a project and you are the center of the project. You are the one being built up. Committing fully to a leader is committing to improve yourself, to add value to yourself, to build yourself up, as it were, as a towering personality, if we might put it that way. All right? That's what it is. It's great. If only, followers knew that. But most followers, is a tough thing to do. He said you must sit down to count the cost. Why? Because all too often, what Jesus was saying, all too often, followers miss the mark and they end up blaming the leader instead of taking responsibility. He needed to explain to them that it's in your hands. It's not in the leader's hands. If you give this relationship what it requires, you will walk away with profit. You will walk away with profit. And while we're at it, remember, he said, sit down and count the cost. What does that mean? There are two sides there. First is to find out, what do you need to put in? What sacrifices are you going to be required to make? Okay. What will you trade off? Some part of your freedom you will trade off. You would come to the table with humility. The independence that many of us desire, we will have to trade off. If you are following a leader, you are submitting to somebody who, when he gives you instruction, all right, you should do it, even if you don't understand, why. As long as it's not asking you to kill yourself or to perpetrate fraud. But at times, you may not know why a leader is giving you an instruction, but you have to just trust in the leader. And you will know hereafter. Just like Jesus said, there were some things he did, and they couldn't understand it. And he says, don't worry, you don't know now, but you will soon know. You would know. But just believe that what I'm doing is in your best interest. There is nothing I'm doing that is in my best interest. What I'm doing is in your best interest. That's what a true leader does. It's all about the one following. You see how helpless a leader can be by appreciating the helplessness of a builder who is in a relationship with a project owner that is non-committal. A project owner who views his project, lukewarmly, who doesn't take the project serious, who clearly is not, committed to the project. What can the builder do? What can the builder do? So counting the cost is to ask yourself, what will it take to follow this leader? Will I be able to give my all? Will I be able to place the leader at the right level in terms of priority? Will I be able to say at any point in time, like Peter said, I have left all to follow you? You must answer that. You must know what it takes. Jesus said to somebody at a point who was very eager and exuberant, wanting to follow him, whatever it was that he saw. Say, I'm going to follow you everywhere, sir. He must have smiled and then told him. He said, well, foxes have holes and birds have nests, but the Son of Man, that is me, the leader, I have nowhere to lay my head. That is, following me, you must get ready. It's not going to be comfortable. It's not a 5-star treatment. I hope you are ready. Whatever it is that you are seeing, he needed to make that clarification. That's what leaders do. It was not a threat. It was a statement of truth. And leaders must operate on the basis of truth. And he told him without, any attempt to ridicule or to put him to shame or to, doubt him. He was putting the facts on the table. He then went ahead to give examples of some other people. Because when the chips are down and you need to commit, they start giving all kinds of excuses, not committing themselves, all right, as true followers. You want to profit from a leader. That's a requirement. The other part of counting the cost is you have to assess the leader. What profit is the leader promising? Because like I said, profit is what you get over what you spent. So you want to, whatever it is you have invested, you want returns on it. Okay, and much more. You want to get it back and much more. That's what profit is. So in counting the cost, don't leave out the profit, because that cost really is a net. What he's saying is that is make sure that this relationship net adds value to you. And that is, you are going to give something and you are going to get something. Follow me and I will make you. So when you put the two together, when you are made and you compare it with what it costs you to follow, are you better off or worse off? That's what counting the cost means. And each one needs to do it if you are not to be disappointed in that relationship with your leader. If you are not to be disappointed, you must do it. You must do it. You must do it. Every relationship that you come into that is leader-follower, you must do it. You must do it. Come on. You must. You must. You must. So, what do you need to do to profit from a leader? Sit down, count the cost. What am I going to give? What is this person going to give back to me? The net of it. Am I going to profit or am I going to lose? If I'm going to lose, we forget it. I'm not going to commit. If I'm going to gain, as the intention of leadership, all right, should be, then I will commit. Then I will commit. If you are not willing to commit, if you are not able to commit, because again, there is a difference. Even when you have counted the cost and you feel that, well, this is something I can do. Many people do start a project that when they did the feasibility study, it was promising. What they didn't pay enough attention to was whether they can really give it what it takes, whether they can provide the input, whether when the going gets rough, they'll be able to stand to weather the storm. And so, yes, it looks like a good project is profitable, net. But when they get on with it, they discover along the line that although they knew the cost, they weren't ever really prepared to give it what it takes. All right, so you want to think about that. You want to think about that. There is what to do to profit from any leader. There's what to do. There is no leader, whether good or bad, who does not require commitment from the follower. None. Even bad leaders want commitment. They want their followers to commit. They want their followers to commit. And it's the commitment to bad leaders that reproduces bad leaders. Interestingly, just as the commitment of good of good followers reproduces good leaders. So both types of leaders can secure commitment. It's the same principle. Those who commit to bad leaders believe that there is profit in it, ironically. Just as those who commit to good leaders, believe that there is profit in this. I'm going to finish today by drawing your attention to the fact that the leader can only make a promise of profit. It takes the follower to cooperate with the leader to make that promise a reality. No true leader can force the real promise of leadership into any follower's life. Leaders add value to the lives of people based on their cooperation, their conscious, committed cooperation. The benefits of leadership, the benefits that leaders have to offer, are not incidental. The true benefits are not incidental. You access them through committed following. If you get anything from a leader without really committing to following, I guarantee you, you didn't get anything of value. What you got was fish instead of the knowledge, the skill of how to catch fish. And you are soon going to go hungry if all you got is fish, but you will never go hungry if what you got was how to get fish. You are soon going to run out of your relevance, all right, to the society if all you are after is fish. If all that gets you excited is fish, you can never become irrelevant if what you get from a leader is how to fish. Those who follow, the profit they get is likened to how to fish. That's why they can go on to produce great leaders in others after their kind. But those who refuse to commit and are only expecting incidental benefits from a leader, expecting manna to keep falling from heaven, as it were, without taking responsibility, they are going to be disappointed, to be frustrated, and they won't stagnate. Instead, they will retrogress, because you're either moving forward or you are retrogressing. In the kingdom of God is one or the other. Quite frankly, there's even nothing like stagnation, because the kingdom is always about two categories. You're either right or you're wrong, or you're righteous or wicked, or you are, humble or proud, or you are good or bad, or you are faithful or unfaithful. All right? And that connotes a life of discipline, by the way, that doesn't allow for people to sit on the fence. And I say, what happened to the one who sat on the fence? We're told his name was Humpty Dumpty. He fell down and broke his head. So when you sit on the fence, you lose. When you sit on the fence with any leader, you end up a loser. There would never be a profit. So we need to reappraise, our leadership relationships. We need to know the real reason why we fail to realize a profit. We need to quit placing all the blame always on the leader. We need to stand up, to take responsibility, to do what we need to do, because it's all in our hands. We need to understand that we are to blame when we are not getting profit from a leadership relationship. Why are you to blame? It's your project, as we have seen in the parable of the tower project. It's your project. Why are you to blame? You are the one. You are the one with the responsibility to pursue that project, to embark on that project. And that means you are the one with the responsibility to decide whether or not you want to follow a leader. And you ought to have done your due diligence before committing. So now that you are following or claim to be following, why is it that you have not benefited? You didn't do your due diligence. You are either following a bad leader or you are not committed to following a good leader. That's all that I have for us today on Leadership in 30 Minutes. And I'm sure you know that, I've been your host and anchor Olatunji Shobodu remains my name. And today we have been addressing what you need to do to profit from your leader, or to profit indeed from any leader. I believe that it has been beneficial to you. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe and check out other very valuable, videos on my channel. Feel free also to spread the word. Here we have plenty of resources to help you build your capacity to lead and to do it right, following truth, following the greatest role model that ever lived on the subject of leadership, and that's Jesus. So at Emet Leadership Academy, that brings you this program. We nurture leaders based on truth. We nurture leaders based on truth. I'll see you again next week, Monday, when it will be time for Leadership Monday. All right? God bless you, and have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye-bye.